Have you ever imagined a woman carrying dangerous chemicals in her pockets, working in a cold laboratory day and night, and changing the world forever? Today, millions of people know her name. Scientists respect her. Students learn about her. Her discoveries helped doctors save countless lives. But her journey was not easy at all. She was born in a country that was under foreign control. Her family had little money. She lost people she loved. She faced discrimination because she was a woman. Many people believed that women could never become great scientists. But she refused to give up. This is the incredible story of Marie Curie, the woman who discovered new elements, won not one but 2 Nobel Prizes, and became one of the most important scientists in human history. In this story, you will learn how a poor young girl from Poland followed her dreams, overcame many hardships, and changed science forever. So stay with me until the end, because Marie Curie's life is full of struggles, surprises, success, and lessons that can inspire all of us. Let's begin her amazing journey. Even as a little girl, Maria loved learning. She was curious about everything. She asked questions, read books, and wanted to understand how the world worked. But very soon, her happy childhood would face serious challenges. Chapter 1: A Curious Girl in Poland. Marie Curie was born on November 7, 1867, in Warsaw, Poland. Her real name was Maria Skłodowska. At that time, Poland was not a free country. It was controlled by the Russian Empire. Many Polish people dreamed of freedom. But life was not easy. Maria was the youngest of 5 children. Her father, Ladisław Skłodowski, was a teacher of mathematics and physics. Her mother, Bronisława, was the head of a girls' school. Even though the family did not have much money, they believed that education was very important. From a very young age, Maria loved learning. She was different from many other children. While some children spent hours playing games, Maria often spent her time reading books and asking questions. She wanted to know how things worked. She was curious about nature, science, and the world around her. Their home was filled with books. Maria's father sometimes brought scientific instruments home from school. Maria loved looking at them. She did not fully understand how they worked, but they made her excited about science. She felt that these strange tools held secrets waiting to be discovered. However, life was not always happy. The Russian government tried to control Polish schools. Children were often forced to learn Russian history and language. Polish culture was pushed aside. Many teachers and students were unhappy about this situation. Maria's family also faced financial problems. Her father lost some of his savings because of bad investments. The family had to live more carefully. They could not buy many things, and every coin mattered. Then sadness entered Maria's life. When Maria was still a young girl, her older sister Zofia became very sick with typhus. The illness spread quickly, and despite the family's hopes and prayers, Zofia died. Maria loved her sister deeply. Losing her was one of the most painful experiences of her childhood. Only a few years later, another tragedy struck the family. Maria's mother became seriously ill with tuberculosis. Because people feared the disease could spread, Maria could not spend as much time with her mother as she wanted. Every day, Maria hoped her mother would get better. Every day, she prayed. But her prayers were not answered. When Maria was only 10 years old, her mother passed away. The loss broke her heart. For a long time, Maria struggled with sadness. She could not understand why so much pain had come into her life at such a young age. First her sister, then her mother. The world suddenly seemed colder and more difficult. Yet even during these hard times, Maria did not stop learning. School became a place where she could focus her mind and forget her pain for a while. she worked harder than ever before. Her teachers quickly noticed that she was one of the brightest students in the class. Maria had an amazing memory. She learned lessons quickly and often earned the highest grades. But she was not proud or arrogant. She remained quiet, respectful, and hard-working. As the years passed, her love for knowledge continued to grow. She began to dream about attending a university one day. But there was a problem. At that time, women in Poland had very limited opportunities for higher education. Many universities did not allow women to study there. Maria was intelligent enough. She was hardworking enough. But being a woman created barriers that she could not easily overcome. Still, she refused to give up on her dream. Deep inside her heart, she believed that education could change her future. She did not know it yet. But the challenges ahead would be even greater than the ones she had already faced. And soon, Maria would make a difficult decision that would change the course of her life forever. Chapter 2. A Dream Worth Fighting For. Maria Skłodowska finished high school with excellent results. She was one of the brightest students in her class and graduated with a gold medal. Her family felt proud of her achievements. Everyone could see that she was intelligent, hardworking, and full of dreams. Maria believed that the next step in her life would be university, where she could study science and become a great scientist. But soon, she faced a painful reality. At that time, women were not allowed to study at the University of Warsaw. It did not matter how smart Maria was. It did not matter how hard she had worked. The university simply did not accept female students. Maria felt disappointed, but she refused to let this obstacle destroy her dream. She believed that education was too important to give up. Since she could not attend a regular university, Maria looked for another way to continue learning. She joined a secret school called the Flying University. It was an underground educational group where teachers secretly taught science, history, literature, and many other subjects. The classes were held in different homes because the Russian government did not allow this kind of education. Every class was risky. If the authorities discovered the school, both the teachers and the students could be punished. Even so, Maria attended whenever she could. She believed that knowledge was worth every risk. Around the same time, Maria and her older sister Bronia had a long and serious conversation about their future. Both sisters dreamed of studying in Paris, France, because women could attend universities there. However, their family did not have enough money to send both daughters abroad. After thinking carefully, they made a brave plan. Maria would work for several years and send money to Bronia so she could study medicine in Paris. After Bronia became a doctor, she would help Maria continue her own education. It was a difficult promise, but both sisters trusted each other completely. Soon, Maria left her family home and accepted a job as a governess for a wealthy family in the countryside. Every day she taught the family's children, helped them with their lessons, and took care of their education. The work was not easy, and sometimes she felt lonely because she was far away from her family. However, every month she saved as much money as possible and sent most of it to Bronia. She spent very little on herself because she never forgot her dream. Even after working all day, Maria did not stop learning. At night, when the house became quiet, she opened her books and studied mathematics, physics, chemistry, and foreign languages by herself. She often read until late at night. Some days she felt tired, but she reminded herself that every page she read brought her one step closer to her future. Her dream remained alive inside her heart. During her time as a governess, Maria met a young man named Kazimierz Zarowski. He came from the wealthy family she worked for. They enjoyed talking together and soon developed deep feelings for each other. Maria believed they might one day build a happy life together. Kazimierz also wanted to marry her. For a short time, it seemed that happiness had finally come into Maria's life. But their love faced a painful obstacle. Kazimierz's parents did not accept Maria because she came from a poor family. They believed their son should marry someone from a wealthy background. No matter how much the two young people cared for each other, the family refused to give their permission. In the end, the relationship came to an end. Maria was heartbroken, but she did not allow sadness to destroy her future. Instead, she returned to her books and continued working even harder than before. Several years passed. Bronya successfully completed her medical studies in Paris and became a doctor, just as she had promised. Then one day, Maria received the letter she had been waiting for. Bronya invited her to come to Paris and finally begin her own university education. Maria could hardly believe it. The dream she had protected through years of hard work, sacrifice, and disappointment was finally becoming real. With only a few clothes, a small amount of money, and a heart full of hope, Maria prepared to leave Poland. She looked one last time at the country where she had been born, where she had suffered great loss, worked tirelessly, and never stopped believing in her dream. She did not know what the future would bring, but she knew one thing for certain. Her greatest adventure was about to begin. And in Paris, the world would soon come to know Maria Sklodowska by a new name, Marie Curie. Chapter 3. A New Life in Paris. In 1891, Maria Sklodowska finally arrived in Paris, France. She was 24 years old. It was the beginning of a brand new life. She had dreamed about this moment for many years. Now, her dream was finally coming true. Paris was very different from Warsaw. The city was larger, busier, and full of students, artists, and scientists from many countries. Maria felt excited, but she also felt nervous. She was far away from her family, and everything around her was new. Soon after arriving in France, Maria began using the French version of her name. Instead of Maria, people called her Marie. From that time on, the world would know her as Marie Curie. At first, Marie stayed with her sister Bronya and her husband. They welcomed her with love and kindness. They wanted her to feel comfortable in her new country. But after a short time, Marie decided to move into a small room near the university. She wanted to live closer to her classes so she could spend more time studying. Her new room was tiny. It had only the basic things she needed. There was a small bed, a wooden table, a chair, and a few books. During the winter, the room became very cold. Sometimes there was not enough heat to keep her warm. She often studied while wearing her coat because the freezing air filled the room. Money was still a serious problem. Marie had very little to spend. She could not afford expensive meals. Many days she lived on bread, butter, tea, and sometimes a few pieces of fruit. There were times when she was so hungry that she felt weak during class. Yet she never complained. She believed that every sacrifice was bringing her closer to her dream. Marie enrolled at the University of Paris, also known as the Sorbonne. The classes were much more difficult than anything she had studied before. The professors expected students to work very hard. Many of her classmates had stronger educational backgrounds. At first, Marie found it challenging to keep up. But she had one great advantage. She never gave up. Every morning, she attended lectures carefully. Every afternoon, she spent hours in the library reading books. Every evening, she solved mathematics problems and studied physics and chemistry until late at night. While many students rested, Marie continued learning. Her hard work soon began to show results. The professors noticed that she was one of the most serious and dedicated students in the university. She asked thoughtful questions, completed difficult assignments, and always wanted to understand every detail instead of simply memorizing facts. Although life in Paris was difficult, Marie was happy. For the first time in her life, she was studying exactly what she loved. Every lesson brought new ideas. Every experiment made her more curious about the world. In 1893, all her hard work paid off. Marie graduated with first place in physics. It was an incredible achievement. She had competed against many talented students from different countries, yet she finished at the top of her class. Instead of celebrating for a long time, Marie immediately set a new goal. She wanted to study mathematics as well. Once again, she worked day and night. Her determination amazed everyone around her. In 1894, she earned another university degree, this time in mathematics. Step by step, she was building the future she had imagined since childhood. Around this time, a friend introduced Marie to a quiet and thoughtful French scientist named Marie Curie. Pierre was already respected for his work in physics. He loved science as much as Marie did. During their first conversations, they discovered that they shared the same passion for learning and research. They talked about experiments. They talked about physics. They talked about the future of science. The more time they spent together, the more they admired each other. Pierre respected Marie's intelligence and determination. Marie admired Pierre's kindness, honesty, and love for scientific discovery. Neither of them knew it yet, but this meeting would change both of their lives forever. Together, they were about to begin one of the greatest scientific partnerships in history. Chapter 4: Love, Marriage, and a Great Discovery. Marie Curie and Pierre Curie spent more and more time together. At first, they talked only about science. They discussed physics, chemistry, experiments, and new ideas. But as the months passed, they also shared their dreams, hopes, and struggles. They realized that they understood each other better than anyone else. Pierre admired Marie because she was intelligent, hard-working, and never gave up. Marie admired Pierre because he was kind, humble, and completely devoted to science. Neither of them cared about money or fame. They believed that discovering new knowledge was one of the greatest purposes in life. Pierre soon asked Marie to marry him. At first, Marie was not sure. She still loved her homeland, Poland, and she even thought about returning there to work as a scientist. Pierre understood her feelings. He told her that if she wanted to return to Poland, he would gladly go with her. His words touched Marie deeply. After thinking carefully, Marie accepted his proposal. On July 26, 1895, Marie Sklodowska married Pierre Curie. They did not have a large wedding or wear expensive clothes. Instead of buying fancy gifts, they bought 2 bicycles. During their honeymoon, they traveled through the French countryside on those bicycles, enjoying nature and talking about science. It was a simple but happy beginning to their married life. Soon after their marriage, Marie and Pierre started working together in research. They spent long hours inside laboratories, studying mysterious rays that had recently been discovered by another scientist. Marie became especially interested in these strange rays because no one fully understood them. She decided to make them the subject of her research. Day after day, she carefully measured different minerals and recorded every result. She noticed something surprising. A mineral called pitchblende gave off much stronger rays than anyone expected. This made her believe that the mineral contained an unknown element that had never been discovered before. Marie shared her idea with Pierre. Pierre became excited and immediately joined her research. Together, they worked in a small, old laboratory. It was far from perfect. The roof leaked when it rained. It was cold during winter and extremely hot during summer. The equipment was old, and many experiments were physically exhausting. Sometimes they spent hours stirring heavy containers filled with chemicals. Their clothes became dirty, and their hands became tired. Still, neither of them complained. They believed they were getting closer to something important. Months of hard work finally brought exciting results. In 1898, Marie and Pierre announced the discovery of a new chemical element. Marie named it polonium to honor her homeland, Poland, which was still fighting for its freedom. It was a proud and emotional moment for her. But the story did not end there. As they continued their research, they discovered that another unknown element was hidden inside the same mineral. This new element was even more powerful than polonium. Later in the same year, they announced the discovery of radium. The scientific world was amazed. Scientists across Europe began talking about the work of Marie and Pierre Curie. Their discoveries opened a completely new area of scientific research. Although they did not fully understand all the possible uses of these new elements, they knew they had found something extraordinary. Marie and Pierre did not become rich from their discoveries. They believed that scientific knowledge should belong to everyone. Instead of keeping their research secret or trying to make money from it, they shared their findings openly with other scientists around the world. Their work was beginning to change science forever. And soon, the entire world would recognize what they had achieved. Chapter 5. Fame, Tragedy, and Unbreakable Courage. The discoveries of polonium and radium made Marie Curie and Pierre Curie famous around the world. Scientists from many countries wanted to learn more about their work. Newspapers wrote about their discoveries, and universities invited them to share their research. Their names slowly became known across Europe. In 1903, Marie and Pierre received wonderful news. They were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics together with another scientist, Henri Becquerel, for their important research on radioactivity. At first, the Nobel Committee planned to honor only Pierre Curie and Henri Becquerel. Marie's name was missing from the list. However, Pierre made it clear that Marie had done an equal amount of work and deserved the same honor. After this, the committee corrected its decision, and Marie became the first woman in history to win a Nobel Prize. The prize brought international recognition, but it did not change Marie's way of life. She and Pierre continued working in the laboratory just as before. They were never interested in becoming rich or famous. Their greatest joy came from learning new things and helping science move forward. At home, Marie and Pierre also enjoyed a happy family life. They had 2 daughters. Erne and Marie loved being a mother. Even with her busy research, she always tried to spend time with her children. She wanted them to grow up with kindness, honesty, and a love of learning. Life seemed full of hope. But everything changed in one terrible moment. On April 19, 1906, Pierre Curie was walking through a busy street in Paris. It was raining, and the roads were slippery. As he crossed the street, he was struck by a heavy horse-drawn wagon. The accident was sudden and devastating. Pierre died that very day. Marie could hardly believe the news. She had lost not only her husband, but also her closest friend, her research partner, and the person who understood her better than anyone else. The sadness was almost too great to bear. For many days, Marie could not think about anything except Pierre. Every room reminded her of him. Every notebook, every experiment, and every piece of laboratory equipment brought back memories. She felt completely alone. Many people thought she would stop her scientific work forever. But Marie remembered something Pierre had always believed. Science must continue. Slowly, she found the strength to return to the laboratory. It was one of the hardest decisions of her life. Every experiment reminded her of the man she loved, yet she refused to let his dream disappear. Soon afterward, the University of Paris offered Marie Curie's teaching position. It was an extraordinary moment. She became the first woman ever to teach at the university. Many people came to hear her first lecture. Instead of speaking about her personal loss, she calmly continued the lesson exactly where Pierre had ended his last lecture. Her quiet courage amazed everyone. Marie devoted herself once again to scientific research. She worked long hours, raised her 2 daughters, and continued studying radioactive materials. Life was never easy, but she refused to let grief define her future. The world saw a strong scientist. But behind that strength was a woman who had experienced deep pain, great loss, and endless sacrifice. Still, she kept moving forward, and her greatest achievements were yet to come. Chapter 6: The Second Nobel Prize and a Dangerous Mission. After Pierre Curie's death, Marie Curie continued her research with even more focus. Even though her heart was filled with sadness, she did not stop working. She believed that science was bigger than personal pain. Every day, she returned to the laboratory and continued studying radioactive materials. Marie worked harder than ever before. She wanted to understand radium completely. She measured its strength, studied its behavior, and improved ways to isolate it. Her research was slow and extremely difficult, but she never gave up. Many scientists across Europe were surprised by her dedication. Some people thought she would stop after Pierre's death, but Marie proved them wrong. In 1911, Marie Curie achieved something extraordinary once again. She was awarded her second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, for her discovery and study of radium and polonium. This made her the first person in history to win Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields. The world admired her even more. She became a symbol of intelligence, courage, and determination. However, Marie never thought about fame. She continued to live a simple life and focused only on her work. But her success did not protect her from problems. As Marie continued working with radioactive materials, she was exposed to radiation every day. At that time, scientists did not fully understand how dangerous radiation could be. Marie often carried test tubes containing radium in her pockets. She even kept radioactive materials in her desk drawers, unaware of the long-term harm. Slowly, her health began to weaken. She often felt tired, but she ignored it and continued working. Her hands, which had once discovered new elements, were now affected by constant exposure. Still, she did not stop her research. During this time, Marie also focused on helping others. When World War I began in 1914, she decided to use her scientific knowledge to save lives. She developed mobile X-ray units called Little Curies. These machines were used near battlefields to help doctors see inside wounded soldiers' bodies. Marie personally drove these X-ray vehicles to the front lines. She trained nurses and medical workers to use the machines. Many lives were saved because of her work. She believed that science should serve humanity, especially during times of suffering. Even though the war was dangerous, Marie refused to stay behind. She traveled through difficult and unsafe areas, working close to soldiers and hospitals. Her courage amazed everyone around her. After the war ended, Marie returned to Paris. She continued her research at the Radium Institute, which she had helped establish. She trained young scientists and guided new research in nuclear science. Many students respected her deeply, not only as a scientist but also as a teacher and role model. However, the damage to her health continued to grow. Years of exposure to radiation had seriously affected her body. She became weaker over time, but she still refused to stop working completely. Marie believed that her mission in life was not finished yet. She wanted science to continue growing, and she wanted her discoveries to help future generations. Even in her final years, she remained active in research and education. She continued visiting her laboratory and supporting young scientists who followed her path. Marie Curie's life was a journey of struggle, discovery, loss, and incredible achievement. She had faced many challenges, but she never gave up on her dreams. And her story was still not over yet. Chapter 7: The Final Years and a Legacy That Never Dies. In her final years, Marie Curie continued working at the Radium Institute in Paris. Even though her body was getting weaker, her mind stayed active and focused. She still guided young scientists, checked research work, and supported new discoveries. Science was not just her profession, it was her entire life. Over the years, her health slowly became worse. This was mainly because of long exposure to radioactive materials. At that time, scientists did not fully understand how dangerous radiation could be. Marie had spent many hours working with radium and other radioactive substances, and this affected her body deeply. Still, she continued her work with strong determination. Marie Curie was also one of the most honored scientists in the world. She achieved something no one had ever done before. She won the Nobel Prize twice, first in 1903 in physics, and later in 1911 in chemistry. These awards made her the first person in history to win Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields. The world admired her not only for her discoveries, but also for her dedication and courage. Even after receiving such great honor, Marie never became proud or careless. She continued living a simple life and focused only on science and helping others. She also supported young scientists, especially women, and encouraged them to enter the world of research. As her health weakened further, she still refused to stop working completely. The Radium Institute remained her second home. She spent most of her time there, surrounded by students, experiments, and scientific papers. On July 4, 1934, Marie Curie passed away in France at the age of 66. Her death marked the end of an extraordinary life, but her impact on the world did not end. Her discoveries in radioactivity changed science forever. Today, her work is used in medical imaging, cancer treatment, and many life-saving technologies. Millions of people are still helped every year because of her research. Marie Curie's life story is a powerful example of courage, sacrifice, and determination. She faced poverty, loss, discrimination, and illness, but she never gave up on her dreams. She proved that one determined person can change the world. Even today, she is remembered as one of the greatest scientists in history. If you want to learn more English through history stories like this, don't forget to subscribe.